Bob had mentioned briefly being underinvested in the markets, but there's also another factor here, and that is mutual fund managers are extremely desperate this year because they've underperformed their benchmarks so badly.
Yes, it's a gloomy year, right? I think in some ways, I think everybody would like to just close the books and just say, let's forget this never happened. And yeah, it's the worst year for active managers really since 1999. So there's about 77% of funds are missing their benchmark. It's a huge number.
A huge number. And that makes them more inclined to chase around,
Yes, I think
momentum.
Well, I think Bob made a good point. There are a number of funds that are on that sort of knife edge that could go from slightly negative to slightly positive. So I think this large cohort, which is probably like more than half of that 77%, just needs one or two good days to actually beat the benchmark, right? We're talking about 1 basis point could actually move the needle. So I think you'll see people try to be opportunistic. But yeah, it's been a topsy-turvy couple days.
You know, Bob had mentioned oil. There's not much you can do about oil except hope that it goes higher. But these managers aren't just going to sit there and hope for things to go up. What are they actually doing to try and get off that knife edge?
Yeah, that's right. I think right now we're having a lot of conversations with clients just thinking about what next year means for them. And I think, you know, it's a year, 2015 is a year where you had to be long FANG. You really had to own healthcare for most of the year. You had to stay out of energy. And now with the Fed tightening, people are starting to rethink what kind of trades make sense. So I think in the next couple of weeks, people are going to start to position for next year. And that's why you could start to see the bounce in the value names and the really burned out stocks.
So, Tom, explain to me exactly the people you're talking to, because it seems to me that they could just go the other way and say, if the market's going to sell off, if I just go to X amount of cash, I'm going to beat on a relative basis. So why are you saying that they're going to buy?
It's first of all, it's an exactly right question, right, to ask, which is, well, maybe the trend is down, so why not sell? Well, you have to remember, in the last 7 years, the market and professional investors have been trained to be really good at selling. So what happens is a market gets sloppy, everyone's really good at taking risk off. But we've had so many bad days that the amount of cash now is quite large. So in order to really, you know, benefit from that, you need the market to really crack big. But if everyone's taking chips off, maybe it's easier for the market to rally.
So
right?
what does this mean overall for the markets as we go into year-end? Do you think that we are set up? Does this make for the ingredients of a year-end rally?
You know...
you're not sure.
Well,
you're not that bullish this time,
I'm going to
Tom.
say
this
something.
Is the first time.
I'm going to say something.
I might regret.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm going to say something that, you know, if you had to say, why would you be scared? I think you can be really scared about high yield because it's such an important market and it's this like loop. It's energy, dollar, and high yield are kind of connected. But on the other hand, because that, like, to me, that's what I'm thinking, and I hear that from so many clients, my guess is that a lot of that's priced in. So what I would like to see is high yield have some market depth, some liquidity, right? And I think it would set the stage for a big rally. So I think it's possible, but it's almost a two-step. We need to see high yield behave better.
And for 2016, are you out with your forecast yet? Or
Yes, yeah, we are. And as tough as 2015's been, it's been really dejecting.
Right.
It's wrong for people to think it's another flat year. You never have 2 flat years in a row. And markets, on average, rise almost 11% following a flat year, even if it's a recession. So I think if you don't think the world's falling apart, it's a double-digit year next year.
Wow. All right. Tom, thank you.
Yeah.
Tom Lee. What do you think?
He acknowledged high yield, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And I do think high yield is an absolute issue at a certain point. But we talked about it on Monday how, yes, high yield looked awful, but doesn't mean the market can't rally. And then you saw it up until today. What do I think? Tom Lee's been spot on now for the last 2 years. So if he says next year's up double digits, it's foolish for me to argue. With that said, I do think this move in energy is much bigger than anybody's making out to be.